Awesome. Welcome, everybody. I am here with, actually, it's UFE's youngest pro athlete, and that's Thibault, coming at us from Edmonton. Is that right?
Yes, Edmonton.
And you earned your pro card last year at the UFE World Championships. And how old were you at that time, Ty?
19. That was like 2 months before my 20th birthday.
Amazing. So we actually now have somebody that's finally matched you, or might even be younger. That's Alexandra. But for sure, out of the men's athletes, you are our youngest pro. And you know what? For guys, that's actually quite something, especially bodybuilding, because you know they say a lot of bodybuilders don't even start peaking until their late 20s, 30s. So it's quite an impressive feat. You've brought in like such an awesome physique to these shows, and you've got a lot of charisma on stage, and the posing is incredible. So it's gotten you to an amazing place. So I just wanted to kind of dig down a little bit more on what makes you you and some of the decisions you've made. So I just kind of want to start with where I start with most people, and that's how did you even discover us, and what made you decide to compete with UFE in the first place?
So how I discovered you guys actually was I used to have a friend who was into competing, and he competed with you guys, and then he let me on the show. And before I actually got competing before, and then he's like, so you seriously have never thought about like taking it to the next level and like competing? And I'm like, no. I was like, I don't really know like how to even get started. I didn't have any connections. And he hooked me up with your guys' Calgary show there in 2016. It was, I went there in that show and just decided that's what I wanted to do, take it to the next level and compete. And I've been loving it ever since.
Awesome. Now, was it that same year that you did the UFE World Championships, or it was a year you took a year off?
No. So what happened is in 2016, I went to the Calgary show. I was about, I think like, I don't know, 160 pounds, or 165 pounds or something like that. And I decided I wasn't big enough. I only, I didn't place in my category, but I got an award for being there, which was cool. But like I decided to take a year off because I wanted more than that. So then I went back the next year, which was 2017, the Calgary show. I placed second in my division, and then I went on to do Worlds that year. I didn't get my pro status, so I took another year off and then worked my butt off, worked super hard that entire year, and then came in this past November and earned the pro status.
Nice. Nice. So yeah, you appeared at the World Championships at 18 years old, just kind of out of that pro range, and then came in just at 19 years old, which is still super young, and earned that pro status. So kind of where do you go from here, Ty? Like you kind of take a year off, then you come back, and a year off and come back. What's the goal?
Well, my current goal is probably take at least like another year and a half off and probably come in and do the Worlds again just to maintain my pro card. So that'll probably be next November, because it won't be this November for sure. So I want to try and put on at least 10 pounds of lean muscle by that time, because I feel like 173 wasn't quite heavy enough for me. Like I looked good, but I always want to be bigger and better. So just gonna take time off and grow right now.
Awesome. So how do you do that? Getting bigger and better. Maybe give us an example of what you do it in your off season right now. For example, what are you eating today, and what is your training like this week?
All right, so this bulk season has, I think, been my best bulk season, because I'm in an understanding now that you don't want to gain a whole bunch of weight. Like I'm trying to stay within 20 pounds of my stage weight, but I don't get too heavy. I'm kind of eating whatever I want, but mostly like rice and chicken and rice and beef. I'm not really messing with pastas, because I know that's like a killer for me. I get pretty hefty when I eat that. So this season, I'm trying to stay within 20 pounds and just build my muscle slowly. And my training has been like super intense. Every time I train, I'm like going, I probably look like a crazy person when I train, because like I just keep my head down, I pop my music, I get pumped up, I like work until I'm like dripping sweat. I don't look at anybody, I just keep my head down and work hard. Prep, that's super intense. I'm really trying to lift super heavy because I realize lean muscle. The best way to build lean muscle is just reps and intensity.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your goal when you come into the UFE Worlds? I guess it'll be not this year, but it'll be next year.
2020.
Yeah.
Should be 2020.
So what's your goal in terms of, like, you were 173 this time around? If you had a weight in mind, where would it be?
I would say at least 183 pounds, because I feel like as a natural bodybuilder, 5 pounds of lean muscle mass a year is good, and it's actually still hard to do. So at least 10 pounds.
Yeah, awesome. Now here's a question that really interests me. You're now 20 years old, and a lot of guys, especially young guys, they're just like way into instant gratification. They're like, you know what, if I can build whatever amount of muscle naturally in a year, maybe I put on 5 pounds in a year, I could put on 10 or 15 by taking all kinds of steroids. And so a lot of guys, especially, I find, succumbing to this, right? They just want to be huge, and they want to be huge now, and they don't want to put in the hustle and grind that it takes. So what is it about you that kind of made you decide to stay natural? Because, to be honest, you're almost a rarity these days, which is kind of sad to say, but it's amazing on your part.
All right. So on that note, I don't know if you recall, but in 2017, when I was at the Calgary show, I had told you that I planned on taking steroids one day, and you like strongly advised me not to. But it's just because at that time I was hanging out with like bodybuilders that were interested in doing steroids. But thankfully, I'm no longer talking to people, so like that topic is like completely out of my head. And it actually, like, I'm really proud of myself, because what I've built naturally at 20 years old, like I've been working out for 10 years, so it's been a long road. Like, I figure if I can wait 10 years and build for 10 years, I can wait another 10 years and build for another 10 years, But like, my biggest motivation is just like priding myself on how good I look naturally, and the fact that I feel like one day if I keep up with this natural pace and with what I'm doing, I will be able to compete with people who are on steroids. So that's a huge motivation for me. I want to be so big naturally that people don't even believe I've never done steroids.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite an impressive goal. And if people have seen kind of, I guess maybe you could go to on our Facebook group, UFE World Championships. Some people could look at some of those pictures and see what you look like, because it's pretty darn impressive at 20, and one can only imagine, at 30, when you're really starting to hit your peak, what it's going to look like. So every year is just going to get better for
better
you.
And better.
Yeah. No, I absolutely do remember the discussion I had, and I think you've just got so much genetic potential naturally that to kind of
the waste, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you made that decision. Now, as you start to get, a little bit older, even though you're still really young, but maybe, there's kids 17, 18, they're like, hey, yeah, I'm getting into bodybuilding, and I see, some 35-year-old dude at the gym, told me I look great, and maybe I'd look even better if I did some crank. If you could talk to that person, what would you say to them?
Well, for myself, anyone I talk to nowadays that's my age and is like talking about doing steroids, I like strongly advise them not to, because at 17, like until you're 25, your testosterone level for action like super high, like pretty much like on steroids naturally. They work out hard for a whole year, they could put on 10 to 20 pounds, at least 10 pounds of muscle, maybe a little bit depending on how much they eat and how much they work. But they can do that naturally at 16 years old. By the time you hit 25 years old, it's not able to build as much muscle at that point. So like maybe at that point I could see people might want to do it. But if you do steroids super young, it actually just completely messes up natural testosterone, and like it leaves you with way more issues than you ever thought or ever wanted or ever imagined like possible.
No, absolutely. And I think you know, even for those people that are like, hey, I'm 25, I'm 30 or whatever, I think a lot of people don't realize some of the other consequences that come of it, the higher cholesterol that kind of goes up the arteries when they're older. The fact that, you know, even doing a small amount of synthetic testosterone is so much higher than our natural testosterone that the body kind of
cuts off your natural testosterone.
Yeah, so I don't think people really get a grasp of, you know, for this short-term gain, what's the long-term pain. So, you know, I think you made an amazing choice to kind of stay naturally. I think, you know, I think you're a good inspiration. I think you're an amazing inspiration to guys that are just starting out in this, looking and going, wow, okay, this dude is incredible. And I can't wait to see what you're going to look like when you come back to the Worlds and then 25, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the last thing I would ask, and then if you want to add anything in before we close this, you know, you did one of my favorite routines ever. Right?
Ice Ice Baby.
Ice Ice Baby. The moves were awesome. The music, the choreography.
Yeah.
In terms of picking your song and doing that choreography, is that something you do all on your own, or do you have opposing coach?
Yeah, I do it all on my own. Honestly, up until my last show, I never used a coach for anything. Like I did all my diet, all my training, everything on my own. I really prided myself on that. But having a coach for this last show really helped me come in as like how I looked. But as for the choreography and stuff, I do all that by myself. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty fluent when it comes to like posing and moving and like just what I enjoy doing. So it really lets me express who I am as a person. So like when I'm standing next to the other competitors on stage and we're all like doing our poses, we all look the same to the judges. We're all there to do like managing poses. And when we get an opportunity to do our own routine, it really gives us an opportunity to show the judges and the people who we are and how much we love the sport and our passion for it. So I just do it all myself and try and pick a song that I can go to. I always try and like go to the beat. So nowadays, I think I'm more beat next time I compete. But yeah, that's like how I do it.
Amazing. Well, I think that's kind of like everything I wanted to sum up. Is one, I think you're an inspiration being so young and doing so well as a bodybuilder, where this is kind of, you know, a lot of people talk about, oh, I can't compete with 20-something-year-olds. Well, in bodybuilding, it's kind of the opposite, where it's harder for young people to compete against 30, 40-some-odd-year-olds who have all this muscle maturity. I think you're a rarity and an amazing rarity in terms of keeping natural and being that kind of guiding light of the future generation of natural bodybuilding. And I encourage people that if they are looking for an inspirational routine, I know you're going to bring something special next year when you're at the UFE again, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So anything you want to leave with on that note, or what do you think?
One thing I did want to leave on the steroid note as well is like even myself, like it was nothing good, but like another factor to take into consideration is the fact that you're technically a drug addict. It takes like technically a drug. You're literally bigger, which like if that's what you're doing, that's like kind of gross in my moral perspective. So that is one thing that majorly kept me away from it, because I just can't imagine myself doing that, especially because I've worked so hard to achieve what I have. So it would be literally just a waste and shameful. That's I just want to touch up on that note because like I want people to actually think about what they're doing, because it takes health out of bodybuilding. It almost turns bodybuilding into an ego, because then it's like you're willing to sacrifice your health just to get big. And like, I don't know, it's not really, it takes the health out of bodybuilding for sure.
Absolutely, and I think those are super wise words, especially for 20-year-old man to be saying. I just don't think a lot of people think about it the same way you do. So definitely appreciate those wise words there, Ty. And we'll miss you at this year's World Championships, but looking forward to seeing you in 2020. And it's going to be a big year.
Yeah.
We're going to be switching venues in Toronto. That's the goal anyway. So we'll be in an awesome new venue with a whole new version of Ty.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. I honestly, like, looking at some of my prep pictures just gets me so excited to get back on stage, but I know I just got to be patient and keep building.
Absolutely. All right, Ty. Well, we'll see you next year.
Awesome. For sure. Take care, Sean. I appreciate the interview, and I wish you and Anna all the best, and take care. I'll see you guys.